Welcome to Lead Well, Live Whole. I'm your host, Michael Sirmon. Every episode, we'll spend a few minutes exploring the challenges, questions, and realities of everyday life, because success means little if you lose yourself in the process. So take a breath, settle in, and let's spend a few minutes exploring life together. Every morning, most of us spend a few minutes standing in front of a mirror. We notice the gray hair that wasn't there a year ago, the wrinkles that seem a little deeper, maybe a few extra pounds we'd rather not acknowledge. Maybe we wonder why we still look so tired. But the most important thing we see in the mirror isn't physical. It's a story. It's a story that quietly whispers, I'm not enough. I'm too old. I'm always behind. I'll never change. I'm just average. I failed way too many times. Or if people really knew me, they wouldn't think much of me. But here's what's interesting. The mirror never said any of those things. The reflection didn't create those beliefs. You brought that story with you. And if you never question the story, you'll spend your life trying to prove or disprove something that was never true in the first place. Welcome back to Lead Well, Live Whole. I'm Michael Sirmon. Every week we explore practical ideas to help you think clearly, lead confidently, develop others, and live whole. Today I want to talk about one of the most overlooked leadership issues of all. Not strategy, not communication, not decision making, but identity. Because every decision we make flows from the person that we believe ourselves to be. Here's where clarity begins, right? One of the things I often say is clarity isn't seeing more, it's seeing accurately. We spend so much of our lives asking God for clarity about our future, right? Which job should I take? Should I start a new business? Should I move? Should I stay? Should I have the conversation? And these are all important questions. But maybe the greatest area we lack clarity isn't our future, but it's ourselves. Because if we can't see ourselves accurately, we'll never see the opportunities accurately either, right? We will always underestimate what we're capable of, or we'll overestimate our failures. We'll confuse mistakes with identity, and eventually we begin making decisions that reinforce a story that we were never meant to believe, right? There are some stories that we do inherit, right? Because none of us started believing that, we didn't start life believing that we weren't enough. We learned it from somewhere. Sometimes from words that were spoken over us, sometimes from words that were never spoken. Maybe we grew up trying to earn someone's approval, or, maybe you were compared to a sibling. Maybe somebody told you that you'd never amount to much, but, maybe success really then became the only place you ever felt accepted. Maybe failure convinced you that you weren't capable, or maybe you've simply spent years comparing your everyday life to someone else's highlight reel. Little by little, experiences became conclusions. Conclusions became beliefs. Beliefs became identity. And once something becomes part of your identity, we stop questioning whether it's true. You simply start living it as though it is. And the story then begins to write our decisions, right? I've coached leaders, I've coached mothers, I've coached pastors, I've coached individuals that had very impressive resumes, impressive lives to look at them. Some were responsible for, hundreds and thousands of employees. They had $1 million budgets. They had successful businesses. There were strong families, right? The children were successful, all of this. Yet beneath all of that, many wrestle with the same question. Am I enough? That's because achievement can improve our circumstances, but it can't heal your identity. So if you believe you're inadequate, you'll overwork trying to prove your value. And if you believe that your worth depends on being needed, you'll struggle to delegate. If you believe mistakes define you, you'll avoid taking healthy risks. And if you believe conflict means rejection, you'll avoid conversations that leadership in life require. And what then looks like a leadership or integrity or commitment problem is really an identity problem, right? Because we buy this lie that confidence is all it takes, right? But confidence isn't the foundation. Our culture tells us to become more confident. You have every guru in the world out there that gives you can do this, step up, right? And we all raise our voices together and chant, we are more than enough, or we are overcomers, or whatever it may be. But confidence is not the foundation. Identity is, because confidence comes and goes. Some days you feel strong, some days you don't. But identity is deeper. Confidence asks, can I do this? Identity says, regardless of the outcome, I know who I am. And that's the kind of confidence that isn't built on performance. It isn't built on affirmations. It isn't built on air. It's built on truth. But what is true? Right? It's an age-old question that we've all struggled to answer. And when it comes to identity, I believe that as a follower of Christ, that I don't believe we're called to invent our identity. We're called to discover it. Right? The Bible reminds us that we are created in the image of God, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, that we were loved before we ever accomplished anything, that our value isn't established by our success, and that means it won't be diminished by our failure, that our value was settled at the cross. Now, that doesn't mean we ignore our weaknesses, but it means that our weaknesses don't become or don't get the final word. God doesn't see us through the lens of our worst day or even the lens of our best day. So why should we? Right? If the story is guiding everything about our lives, then why not simply change the story, right? I know saying that's easier than doing it sometimes, but we do have to ask ourselves how we move forward, right? You know me, I love 3 questions. So I would start by 3 questions. What story do I keep telling myself? Where did this story come from? And my favorite question, is this story actually true, right? Not is it familiar, not is it comfortable, is it true? And not a story that's been repeated so often that it feels true, but is it actually true? Because clarity begins when we stop confusing old wounds with present reality. When we replace the lies with truth, when we replace assumptions with clarity, when we replace shame with grace. And over time, our thinking will change. Our decisions will change. How we lead ourselves, how we live our lives changes. Not because we've become, somehow someone different, but because we finally began seeing ourselves accurately. So the next time you stand in front of a mirror, don't ask, what do I look like? Ask, what story am I believing? Because your reflection doesn't determine your future, but your story you believe does. And here's the good news. You don't need a different mirror. You need a truer story. You need a story rooted in truth instead of fear, one grounded in grace instead of performance, one that reminds you your value isn't something that you earn, but it's something you've already been given. Gideon is one of my favorite stories in the entire Bible. And if you've listened to this podcast for long, you will have heard it repeatedly. Gideon hiding behind the barn, hiding from the Midianites who were coming to steal all the food, was cowering in fear. And the angel appeared and said, "Hail, mighty man of valor." Gideon says, "Hey, I'm the least of the sons of my father's house, who is the least of the, who is the least of the children of Israel." But God saw him for who he was, not for who Gideon thought he was. So if that's true, then that means that our identity, our story, our value, it's something we've already been given when we were fearfully and wonderfully made. And then when we begin to see ourselves truthfully, then we will begin to think more clearly. We'll begin to lead and live more confidently. We'll be able to develop ourselves and others much more intentionally, and we'll be able to live more wholly. It's worth the risk. It's worth daring to believe that your story is more than what you currently believe, that your story is determining your thoughts and your decisions and is hindering or limiting. Some of the sessions when I'm coaching, and somebody's having an issue and they go, and they say, "Hey, I want to and they actually address the issue, they return. It's like, that's not what I thought it was going to be. It did not go as bad as I thought, right? You think about it, 90% of what you worry about will never happen. But 100% of what you focus on, 100% of what you dedicate yourself, 100% of what you commit to, I promise you will impact your life, will impact the lives of the people around you. And the little successes begin to reaffirm the true identity of who you are, because we can rest confident in the assurance that we are loved. We are loved exactly as we are. And as we see that and believe it, and we begin to remove the fear, remove the deception, remove the this falsehood that set expectations, then we can truly start living up to our full potential. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me for another episode of Lead Well, Live Whole. And if today's conversation encouraged you, I'd be grateful if you would like, follow, subscribe, and share the podcast with someone who may need to hear it. Every share helps us reach another leader, spouse, parent, friend, or neighbor who may be carrying a story that no longer deserves to define them. And you can also find additional leadership resources, articles, coaching information, and more at michaelsirmon.com. So until next time, lead well, live whole. If today's conversation raised a question you've been wrestling with, I'd love to help. I offer one-on-one coaching for individuals navigating pressure, transition, and important decisions. You can learn more at michaelsirmon.com.